Book number 2. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki. Introduction. The book is the story of a person who has two fathers. The first was his biological father, the poor dad, and the other was the father of his childhood best friend, the rich dad. One was highly educated and intelligent. He had a PhD and completed 4 years of undergraduate work in less than 2 years. The other father never finished the 8th grade. Both men were successful in their careers, working hard all their lives. Yet one always struggled financially. The other would become one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. Both men offered advice, but they did not advise the same things. For example, one dad would say, "The love of money is the root of all evil." The other said, "The lack of money is the root of all evil." One dad habitually said, "I can't afford it." The other dad forbade those words to be used. Instead, he would ask, "How can I afford it?" One is a statement, and the other is a question. One lets you off the hook, and the other forces you to think. One encouraged talking about money and business at the dinner table. Other forbade the subject of money to be discussed over a meal. Both dads paid their bills on time, yet one paid his bills first while the other paid last. One dad recommended, "Study hard so you can find a good company to work for." The other recommended, "Study hard so you can find a good company to buy." One dad taught how to write an impressive CV to find a good job. The other taught how to write strong business and financial plans to create jobs. Thus, people do shape their lives through their thoughts. For example, the poor dad always said, "I will never be rich." And that prophecy became a reality. While the rich dad, on the other hand, always referred to himself as rich. Even when he was flat broke, he continued to refer to himself as a rich man. He would cover himself by saying, "There is a difference between being poor and broke. Broke is temporary. Poor is eternal." Chapter 1. Rich don't work for money. In this chapter, the rich dad advises the boys to stand out from the crowd. He is totally against the school systems and says that teaching does not mean talking and lecturing. That is not how life teaches us. Most of the time, life does not speak to us. It pushes us around, and each push is life saying, "Wake up." And if you give up every time life pushes you, you will let life push you into submission. You want to win, but the fear of losing is greater than the excitement of winning. The rich dad advised changing the point of view. Stop blaming others. If you think others are problems, you have to change them, but when you realize that you are the problem, then you can change yourself. It is always easier to change yourself than everyone else. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money to work for them. People's lives are forever controlled by two emotions, fear and greed. Offer them more money, and they continue the cycle by increasing their spending. This is a cycle the rich dad called the rat race. People react to their feelings and fail to think. They feel the fear, so they go to work, hoping that money will soothe the fear, but it doesn't. It continues to haunt them, and they return to work, hoping again that money will calm their fears, and again it doesn't. So they get up and go to work, hoping that a paycheck will kill that fear gnawing at their soul. Money is in control of their emotions and their souls. The rich dad advises avoiding this trap. Having a lot of money does not solve the problem. People also work for money because of desire. They desire money for the joy they think it can buy. But the joy that money brings is often short-lived, and they soon need more money for more fun, pleasure, comfort, and security. So they keep working, thinking money will soothe their souls troubled by fear and desire. But money can't do that. Thus, control of the money is more important. A job is really a short-term solution to a long-term problem. Most people have only one problem in mind, and it's short-term. It's the bills at the end of the month. So they do as their parents did. They get up every day and go to work for money, not taking the time to ask, "Is there another way?" Their emotions now control their thinking, not their heads. Chapter 2. Why teach financial literacy? Money is one form of power. But what is more powerful is financial education. If you have the education about how money works, you gain control over it and can begin building wealth. One of the reasons the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the middle class struggle in debt is that the subject of money is not taught in school. The child may graduate with excellent grades, but with poor financial programming and mindset. Schools focus on scholastic and professional skills, but not on financial skills. This explains how smart bankers, doctors, and accountants who earned excellent grades may struggle financially all of their lives. Many people are too focused on money and not on their greatest wealth, their education. Most people fail to realize that in life, it's not how much money you make. It's how much money you keep. The educated dad stressed the importance of reading books, while the rich dad stressed the need to master financial literacy. If you want to be rich, you need to be financially literate. Rule number 1. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability and buy assets. If you want to be rich, this is all you need to know. It is the only rule. Most people struggle financially because they do not know the difference between an asset and a liability. The rich acquire assets, and the poor and middle class acquire liabilities. Here is how to tell the difference between an asset and a liability. The top part of the diagram is an income statement, often called a profit and loss statement. It measures income and expenses, money in and money out. The lower part of the diagram is a balance sheet. It's called that because it's supposed to balance assets against liabilities. Many financial novices do not know the relationship between the income statement and the balance sheet. And it is vital to understand that relationship. The rich dad simply told two young boys that assets put money in your pocket, and liabilities are something that takes money out of your pocket. This is really all you need to know. If you want to be rich, simply spend your life buying assets. Because students leave school without financial skills, millions of educated people pursue their profession successfully, but later find themselves struggling financially. They work harder but don't get ahead. What is missing from their education is not how to make money, but how to manage money. It's called financial aptitude. What you do with the money once you make it. How to keep people from taking it from you. How to keep it longer. How to make that money work hard for you. Most people don't understand why they struggle financially because they don't understand cash flow. A person can be highly educated, professionally successful, and financially illiterate. Why rich get richer? The asset column generates more than enough income to cover expenses, with the balance reinvested into the asset column. The asset column continues to grow and, therefore, the income it produces grows with it. The result is that the rich get richer. Chapter 3. Mind your own business. The secret of being wealthy is to mind your own business. Financial struggle is often directly the result of people working all their lives for someone else. Many people will simply have nothing at the end of their working days to show for their efforts. Our current educational system focuses on preparing today's youth to get good jobs by developing scholastic skills. Their lives will revolve around their wages. Many will study further to become engineers, scientists, cooks, police officers, sportsmen, writers, and so on. These professional skills allow them to enter the workforce and work for money. But there is a big difference between your profession and your business. When we ask people, "What is your business?" and they will say, "Oh, I'm a banker." Then when they are asked if they own the bank, and they usually respond, "No, I work there." In that instance, they have confused their profession with their business. Their profession may be a banker, but they still need their own business. A problem with school is that you often become what you study. So if you study cooking, you become a chef. If you study the law, you become an attorney. And a study of auto mechanics makes you a mechanic. The mistake in becoming what you study is that too many people forget to mind their own business. They spend their lives minding someone else's business and making that person rich. To become financially secure, a person needs to mind their own business. Start minding your own business. Start buying real assets, not liabilities or personal effects that have no real value once you get them home. Keep expenses low. Reduce liabilities. For young people who have not yet left home, it is important for parents to teach them the difference between an asset and a liability. Keep your day job, be a great hardworking employee, but keep building that asset column. As your cash flow grows, you can indulge in some luxuries. An important distinction is that rich people buy luxuries last, while the poor and middle class tend to buy luxuries first. Chapter 4. The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. In school, being told the story of Robin Hood. The story of a hero who robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. The rich dad did not see Robin Hood as a hero. He called him a crook. The reason the middle class is so heavily taxed is because of the Robin Hood ideal. The reality is that the rich are not taxed. It's the middle class, especially the educated upper-income middle class, who pays for the poor. The idea of taxes was made popular and accepted by the majority by telling the poor and the middle class that taxes were created only to punish the rich. Although it was intended to punish the rich, in reality, it wound up punishing the poor and middle class. The problem was that the government's appetite for money was so great that taxes soon needed to be levied on the middle class, and from there it kept trickling down. However, the rich saw an opportunity because they don't play by the same set of rules. It is the knowledge of the legal corporate structure that really gives the rich a vast advantage over the poor and the middle class. No matter what the "take from the rich" crowd came up with, the rich always found a way to outsmart them. That is how taxes were eventually levied on the middle class. The rich outsmarted the intellectuals solely because they understood the power of money, a subject not taught in schools. Every time people try to punish the rich don't simply comply. They react. They have the money, power, and intent to change things. They search for ways to minimize their tax burden. They hire smart attorneys and accountants, and persuade politicians to change laws or create legal loopholes. They use their resources to effect change. Financial knowledge is made up of knowledge of 4 broad areas of expertise. 1. Accounting. Accounting is possibly the most confusing, boring subject in the world, but if you want to be rich long term, it could be the most important subject. 2. Investing. This is the science of making money. This involves strategies and formulas which use the creative right brain side. 3. Understanding markets. This is the science of supply and demand. You need to know the technical aspects of the market, which are emotion-driven, in addition to the fundamental or economic aspects of an investment. And finally, the law. A person who understands the tax advantages and protections provided by a corporation can get rich so much faster than someone who is an employee or a small business sole proprietor. Chapter 5. The rich invent money. The money is not real. The more real you think money is, the harder you will work for it. If you can grasp the idea that money is not real, you will grow richer faster. The single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. If it is trained well, it can create enormous wealth seemingly instantaneously. There are 2 kinds of investors. The first and most common type is a person who buys a packaged investment. They call a retail outlet, such as a real estate company, a stockbroker, or a financial planner. It is a clean and simple way of investing. The second type is an investor who creates investments. This investor usually assembles a deal in the same way a person who buys components builds a computer. I do not know the first thing about putting components of a computer together, but I do know how to put pieces of opportunities together or know people who know how. It is this second type of investor who is the more professional investor. If you want to be the second type of investor, you need to develop 3 main skills. Find an opportunity that everyone else missed. Raise money. The average person only goes to the bank. This second type of investor needs to know how to raise capital, and there are many ways that don't require a bank. Organize smart people. Intelligent people are those who work with or hire a person who is more intelligent than they are. Chapter 6. Work to learn, don't work for money. Many talented people don't make the money they could. And the reason for this is that they do not know how to sell their services because talent is not enough for this one. They need to master the knowledge of trade and marketing, and they would know how to present and sell their work to the maximum. But if you tell them about it, they will brush you off and say that all sellers are crooks and hucksters, and they do not need this knowledge. But these are false beliefs that need to be changed. As a result, they will be fixated on improving their skills but will not even think about how to present and sell the same book or album. The main lesson of this chapter is that you have to master marketing skills to sell your talent at maximum. Chapter 7. Overcoming Obstacles. Sometimes people face obstacles in front of them to becoming financially independent. There are 4 main barriers to get into this. The first such barrier is the fear of losing money. Remember that every rich person has lost some money in their life, but many poor people are afraid of this, so they don't invest their money at all and end up with nothing. The second obstacle is doubt. We often think that we will not succeed and ask ourselves the question, what if? For example, what if the economy crashes right after I invest? Sometimes, our friends exacerbate the situation, saying that we should not get involved in this. And in the end, our doubts paralyze us, and we do nothing. And then we watch as life and opportunities rush past us. The third barrier is laziness. There is a constant struggle going on in you between the 2 sides. The spirit and the mind. The spirit says you need to go for a run. And the mind says that you are too tired and you can rest for a day, and so every time. And the fourth barrier is arrogance. Most people don't want to believe they don't know something. And therefore, they do not even try to learn something new. When you realize that you are ignorant in a subject, find a specialist who understands this and thereby fills in the gaps in your education, or find a book on a topic that interests you. Chapter 8. Getting started. In this chapter, the author explains 10 steps to develop your God-given powers. First is the power of spirit. Find a reason greater than reality. The second power is the power of choice. Make daily choices. Third is the power of association. Choose friends carefully. Fourth, the power of quick learning. Master a formula and then learn a new one. Fifth, the power of self-discipline. Pay yourself first. Sixth, the power of good advice. Pay your brokers well. Seventh, the power of getting something for nothing. Be an Indian giver. Eighth, the power of focus. Use assets to buy luxuries. Ninth, the power of myth. Choose heroes. And 10th, the power of giving. Teach and you shall receive. Do you want to know more about the 10 God powers mentioned in this book? Then don't forget to subscribe to our channel as we are working on the content.